Hey everybody, in case you missed it, Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, made an announcement just recently about legislating triplex by right across Ontario. So I'm going to go through an example where our clients are literally doing this. They are converting a single family home into a triplex. So I'm going to walk you through the numbers. So this property is on in our target area of Hamilton, Ontario, specifically on the mountain, suburban area. The realtors were asking for $899,900. Now understand that at the peak of the market, this house would have gone for well over 1.1 million, probably closer to 1.2 million because it was so nice and because it had a fully renovated two-car garage. So the ask was that. What we paid, we were able to negotiate for our clients $75,000 off asking. So our clients paid $825,000. So so our clients are putting down roughly 20% down payment. There's all these other costs as well. Understand that they are planning to spend around $250,000 for the renovation budget. In order to convert the two-car garage into an apartment suite, and also to convert the basement of the house into an apartment as well. And then you have a total of 3 units. You have the main floor and the second floor as one apartment, the basement of the house as your apartment number 2, and then the two-car garage, formerly two-car garage, will now be an apartment itself. So now you have 3 units, right? The total rent between the 3 units will be about $6,800 plus utilities. That's key. It's ideal to have the tenants paying their own utilities. That way they're accountable to their own consumption. And also then you don't pay for them yourself. Some other important fee factors is we're pricing in about 5% appreciation for our return numbers. In my experience, that's quite conservative because I've actually done the analysis from the peak of the Toronto housing back in about 1988 when the market peaked, till about 2017-ish. So I wanted to exclude like the pandemic pricing, for example. That over that period of time, from the peak of the Toronto real estate market in the late 1980s till about pre-pandemic, what averaged out about 7%, right? So from a peak to before pandemic, about 7% on average. So we're using only 5% appreciation. So I consider that conservative. Again, between the down payment and the renovation, we're talking around somewhere of upfront costs around total investment is around $430,000. And that's what you have to spend between the down payment and the renovations in order to get your $6,800 rent. And then your mortgage, taxes, and insurance is about $4,700. Taxes, insurance. So those are your hard costs. So now you see between the rent and your monthly costs, hard costs, you have just over $2,000 cash flow, about $2,100. But also this is before any sort of maintenance, property management, vacancy. Do understand that vacancy is under 1% right now in Hamilton. So you still have to accommodate these, and also any sort of costs if you're borrowing. So any borrowing costs on the money on your investment. So some people use home equity line. These numbers do not factor that in if you're using a home equity line. So you can see why investors with cash are extremely excited right now because they're able to pick up wonderful opportunities and not have to pay at time of recording. Variable interest rates are around 6.5%. So immediate savings is 6.5%. I think anyone would like to do that. So again, we use about 5% appreciation. So between this cash flow and 5% appreciation, we're looking at about an annual return on investment is somewhere around 18%. Now for me, if this is my investment property, our clients are choosing to do a triplex. So if this was me, I would just do the garden suite conversion, which would only be about $120,000. My rent would drop from 6,800 to 5,800. My total investment now is about 305,000. Because personally, I would choose not to do the basement suite conversion. I like to leave the house as a whole. That way I can rent it out immediately, because the house is turnkey. I can rent it out immediately, I can have rent coming in, and I can preserve my capital. I can preserve my capital to go potentially buy another property now, and also just keep more cash on hand should anything go wrong, right? So our mortgage, taxes, and insurance are the same. Again, 5,800 rent. So we're looking at just under approximately $1,100 a month cash flow. And because I've invested less money, having a smaller renovation, my ROI actually goes up to about 21.5%. Under a garden suite only scenario. So again, my clients choosing to do a triplex, I personally would prefer to do a garden suite, and these are the numbers how they break out. Again, you do need to add your own maintenance, property management, vacancy, and borrowing costs in their scenarios. Do understand everything's turnkey and be fully renovated, so the maintenance should be low at the offset. And honestly, a lot of my clients are doing their own property management work these days. And then again, as I mentioned, vacancy is below 1% in our city. Hope that helps. If investing in real estate interests you and you want to take the next step, we do offer iWIN meetings, which are networking and education based. So come out, learn some more, meet some like-minded real estate investors, and potentially even find joint venture partners in case you need to buddy up on a project such as what we just discussed. We also offer street smart tours, so where we take a group of investors, we actually go rubber meets the road. We go to these towns like Hamilton, like Niagara Region, like Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, like Oshawa, like Belleville, in order to go see properties in person and actually tour properties like we just discussed that are ideal for cash flow investing purposes. And for those who are really serious and ready to take action, my coaches offer one-on-one complimentary coaching sessions to understand what your requirements are, and then we can design you a custom plan in terms of what kind of investment property is right for you. So all the information is in the below for websites, Calendly links, phone numbers, email addresses if you're interested.